Yeah, baby. Good morning. Welcome back to Sunrise. The time is now 6:17 and we're here with our girl Toni-Kay, and which means it's your Sunrise headlines, baby. Yeah.
I can't. I was going to try it, you know. It's not going to happen.
No.
I petition for a Dennis impersonation corner. We did a segment in the morning.
I think we should have like a training session. You know, like how Carlton has money masterclass?
Yeah.
We need accent masterclass.
TK, let's do it.
We'll lobby for it.
Yeah. We'll be your students.
But until then, let's talk about the headlines, shall we? So Health Ministry dispels AstraZeneca concerns. Amidst concerns swirling about the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine, the country's health minister and the chief medical officer have broken their silence on the matter, both emphasizing that at the height of the pandemic, the benefits of the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine outweighed the potential risks of the virus. Quote, there is no need to panic, end quote. That's a word from the health ministry, which after days of silence has finally provided clarity regarding the concerns surrounding the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine. Recent online reports suggested the manufacturer issued a global recall due to the possibility of rare blood clotting side effects. However, Jamaica's chief medical officer, Dr. Jacqueline Bisesa McKenzie, is pushing back against these claims. The side effect in question causes blood clots and a low blood platelet count, but to date, the health ministry has recorded no such reaction locally. So Jamaican health authorities administered their last AstraZeneca shot back in July 2022 after the last remaining batch expired. So despite public apprehension, the government maintains that the drug was the island's best bet at the time.
So essentially they said, they confirmed everything that we said the last time we spoke about it. That, I mean, I maintain that it was recalled because
there's no longer any demand.
The demand for it has expired, just like much of the drug that was out there. I don't think everything that needs to be pitched as a crisis. I don't think everything needs to be pitched as confusion is swirling, that kind of a thing. But that's, I guess, what the journalistic trades want to do sometimes. Sometimes, you know, because you have to write headlines.
Yeah.
But the truth is that, when I heard Dr. Bisesa say it yesterday at the post-cabinet press briefing, I was like, I thought so.
Yeah.
That we haven't been using AstraZeneca for a long time anyway. And we've all heard the story about possible blood clotting and whatever. But how rare is that? Even in the UK, remember we were saying
the
actual number.
Yeah.
And it might be among certain populations. And even in those populations, it is very low, much less outside of those populations. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, next up in the headlines, Holness disappointed but not surprised by opposition. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has expressed his disappointment with the parliamentary opposition's public stance on the constitutional reform process. The Prime Minister made a rare appearance at Wednesday's post-cabinet briefing as the chasm between government and the opposition widens. The standoff surrounds misgivings on the process to get to a modern and new constitution. As public debate rages, the Prime Minister said context is needed. A parliamentary committee started work on the issue some 25 years ago. He said opposition leader Mark Golding wanted to move ahead with the report from that committee, but Holness wanted some newness to it. Hence, the current committee was set up. The reform process involves establishing the Republic of Jamaica and drafting a new constitution for the country. The reform is divided into phases, with the first phase focusing on matters agreed upon by both sides, while more complex issues are deferred to subsequent phases. At least that's what Holness said his understanding was. But the opposition is adamant there is no moving forward if the process does not include supplanting United Kingdom-based Privy Council with the Caribbean Court of Justice. The reality now facing the Holness administration is that the country's current constitutional arrangements require a vote from at least one opposition senator to pass the bill in Parliament.
You know, there are some matters that I feel should have absolutely nothing to do with any partisan anything. This is one of those matters, in my opinion. Jamaica's best interest is what should be put forward. and everything should occur in Jamaica's best interest, not the best interest of any of the political parties, but everybody's children's grandchildren. And I really feel like it's time to take off colored hats and just operate from a position of what works best for Jamaica.
That's a good position, but I mean, unfortunately, it's an idealistic position in our society.
Yeah.
There's a reason why constitutional reform from 1962 till now, it start on book.
Correct.
I mean, I remember when I was in high school in the 90s, there was this whole constitutional reform discussion, and then, you know, we saw coming into 2011 with the passage of the Bill of Rights, we were talking, yes, finally constitutional reform is coming. Like every time we've moved down the road of constitutional reform, we buck and it stopped. And you know why? Because constitutional reform in large measure requires consensus. And in our government and in our politics, we don't do consensus very well. And then people have entrenched positions and they won't let go of their entrenched positions, and then the program stalls. I'm disappointed this time, and personally, I'm of the view like, I don't want to hear nothing about no more constitutional reform. I don't want to hear it. Because contrary to what was said in the story, I don't believe that there is a raging public debate. Like if you go to if you go to Pedro Keys and if you go to somebody in Coronation Market, like, what do you think about this issue?
Yeah.
Like we in the news bubble, we in the current affairs environment are thinking like, this is such a big story. And to the average person, it's not a big deal. I agree with Hugh Small, who says right now, what we need is not going to happen. We're in the election cycle, whether we like it or not. And until next year, September, we're not going to have any sensible conversations about this. So better you put it down.
No, honestly.
But what is disappointing to me is the fact that we were going, I thought, on the premise of let's deal with this status of removing the Queen as the head of state. We all agree on that. There are other matters that we don't agree on, but we all agree. So let's go forward on the matters on which we agree.
And if I'm not mistaken, it has happened in our region.
Yes.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken,
Barbados.
Dennis, please correct me if I'm wrong. Barbados went ahead and attained republic status without. We're going to get to that after, but we're removing the Queen as the head of state. So
after
it can be done. We have an example.
After Barbados did it, everybody's like, Jamaica needs to do it too. Jamaica needs to do it. And I'm like...
Including the people opposing now.
I'm laughing because I'm like, we're not going to do it. I bet you we're not going to do it.
The thing is, I think that, you know, when we're looking at things and saying, oh, it might be a partisan situation, I think that there's just what's best for the country can be pretty subjective. And so some people say, no, I'm telling you, this is the direction. And whereas the other side said, no, it's this. And they both maybe have great arguments, great points, and maybe they could even both be right. But it's just a matter of conceding and saying, you know what, let's do this. You're right, you are right, or I am right.
I
Let's
agree,
just move
because
forward with this.
what is, remember, that's why we have political parties. That's why we have political parties, because you, from this ideological position, think this is the best way forward, and you have another.
Correct.
So it is a fact.
But we'll continue to track it. It's something that's, you know, it's going to be continuing to happen. So we'll continue tracking it.
Let's move on. We'll deal with it in 2026.
We need to deal with it.
Yendi, I hand over to you.
I bet it's not going to deal with.
I think you're right.
We'll deal with it. We will. I have faith.
We have the example. The precedent is set. It can be done. Let's just deal with it.
Let's do it.
All right. On the other side of the break, we head to Jerk City, Florida, in Sunrise Foreign Exchange.
That's so nice.
I wonder if the jerk chicken can come across the kid.
Yeah, sounds good. I like that.
I know, right? Dun, 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 dun.